They say that the brain responds well to metaphor. So I want you to imagine, or I invite you to imagine that you are invisible. And it is your job to take care of someone you care about. Perhaps it could be a friend. Perhaps it is a loved one or a family member. Okay? So I want you to imagine that your whole life you're just by this person's side and you're invisible. So the person can't hear you, but they can feel you. All right? So I want you to imagine now everything's all hunky-dory for the first few years as you're guarding your friend. They're pretty awesome. They're doing well, nothing overly important, right? And then one day you see this friend of yours is walking down a road. And you know that a mile down the road, there's a bunch of bandits, and these bandits are basically going to rob him, then kill him in the most horrific way possible if he keeps walking down this road. So you scream and you tell your friend, turn the other way, stop doing this, right? In a few moments, in a few times, your friend pauses, and he kind of feels like he hears you, but then he keeps walking. So you scream louder and louder and louder. And then the friend pauses again, like as if something inside of him is telling him to turn around. But his logical mind keeps saying, this is the fastest road to get to where I need to go. So then finally your friend is halfway down the road, and you know that if you don't do something soon, your friend is going to get fucked up, okay? So you just take a stick, an invisible stick, and then you hit him in the ankle as hard as you can. Wham! You hit him. And all of a sudden your friend falls to the ground, and he's holding his ankle like, Jesus Christ, what happened? Like, I popped my ankle out. I don't understand what's happening. So then you're like, finally, thank God, maybe he can get the message. Like you're trying to convey a message to him. But unfortunately, he still gets back up again, and he's limping. He's actually limping to that destination. And you're like, oh my God, I cannot believe this guy is still walking in that direction. Like, I thought he would have gotten my message. So then you take the stick again, and then you hit him in the ankle again, same location. Bam! Right in the ankle. He just goes down like a bag of rocks. He's screaming. He's like, God, why have you done this to me? This is awful. This is horrible. I don't understand, So then he tries to get up and he can't walk. His ankle's done, right? So then finally, you stop. And then he's on the side, your friend's on the side of the road, and let's just say some nice passerby is on the way back to town in the opposite direction, take him to the hospital, and they're caring for him, right? So your friend's at the hospital, and you're standing by his side, and then the doctor's asking your friend, like, what happened? And your friend says, well, I was on my way down this road, and my ankle gave out, and I don't know why, but I need to keep on that destination. So the doctor says, what are you going to do? So your friend says, well, as soon as I'm better, I'm going to go back on that road and finish the destination. And you hear this again, and you're like, oh my God, I cannot believe this guy has not got the message. Like he's actually going to go back on the road again, the same direction. He's going to get robbed and killed, like brutally. So you take your stick again and you hit him again in the ankle. Bam! And he starts screaming, ah! The doctor's like, what's going on? And your friend says, I don't know, for some reason my ankle's not healing. It's just not healing. It's just not healing. I don't know what the hell's going on, right? So then the doctor tells your friend, hey, maybe you should wait a second and think of this in perspective. Sometimes we have guidance, and we have thought that tells us that we're going in the wrong direction. We have a guardian angel that does this, and sometimes he's trying to communicate with us. And the doctor says, what road you were going down again? And your friend says, I was going down the South Pass. And the doctor says, you're very lucky, my friend. And your friend says, how am I lucky? My ankle's jacked up. How am I lucky? And the doctor says, because on that road, it is notorious for a gang, the local gang. They've been known for robbing and killing and really hurting people very badly. Usually most people who go down that road don't make it out alive. They get robbed and they get killed. He's like, you've been very lucky, my friend. So then your friend decides, you know what? I'm not going to go down that road anymore. I'm going to try an alternative means to get to where I need to go. That's all you needed to hear as you're the invisible guardian. That's all you need to hear. So you put your stick back, and then you help him heal very quickly. You rub your hands on him, and then miraculously he heals. He's internalized the message. He got what you needed to hear. So you're probably saying, Talmud, that's really nice. Are you still smoking mushrooms and marijuana? And where can I get some? Obviously, no, I'm not doing drugs. That's not what I'm talking about. The story was designed to demonstrate a point. Commonly in our lives, we look at illness incorrectly. They say if you keep doing what you got, you'll keep getting what you get, or something like that, right? So what most people happens is when they get an illness or an injury, they immediately think that they've been cursed by God, or that they've been punished, or that they must repay penance, or it's because they're a bad person, or it's because their body is defective. But I invite you to look at it in another way. I invite you to understand that your divine intelligence, known as your higher self, or that deep subconscious part of yourself, 99% of the time when you have an injury or an illness, it's that invisible part of you trying to get you to wake up, trying to get you to understand that somehow you're going the wrong direction in life, and this direction is going to lead to an incredible amount of pain and suffering for you. Okay? Now, this part of you uses parts of your body to demonstrate what that message is. It's trying to communicate with you. I find when I'm working with clients, if they can understand this one aspect, it changes everything in terms of their healing. They stop looking at their ailments as a punishment from God or a defect, and start looking at it as, what is my higher self trying to tell me? What is my divine intelligence trying to tell me? I see this time and time again when I'm dealing with clients who are going in the wrong direction. Because of incorrect beliefs, their higher self or their divine intelligence will communicate that to them. For instance, say people are taking on burdens that are not their burdens to take. They'll have pains in their shoulder or pains in their back, as if you're bearing a heavy weight. Understand the connection. If there's something in the person's life that they don't want to look at, they don't want to see, they'll have eye issues. Perhaps it'll be eye irritation. It will be blurriness or something like that, or pain in the eyes. It's trying to tell them you're going down a wrong path by not looking at this. Perhaps the person has an issue expressing themselves, expressing their full truth. Then there'll be a message in the mouth. Perhaps a person's tooth will be hurting. Perhaps they'll be having trouble opening up their jaw and speaking correctly. It's about a message. They're trying to say, by you not speaking your truth, more pain is ahead of you. Or by you not seeing what you need to see, more pain is ahead of you. If you do not, by you taking on burdens that are not yours to take, you're on a way of extreme suffering. So your higher self is literally trying to tell you these things, okay? Perhaps you're not moving in the right direction in life. So your higher self is going to have knee pains. It's going to show you a pain in your knee. Perhaps it's saying you're going in the wrong direction as well. It could be the ankles. It could be the knees. I had a client who had not fully healed yet. He's a veteran. I'm not going to say his name to protect his privacy, but he had not fully and completely healed. So he wanted to return. He had an exemplary career in the military, and he wanted to return into the military, and he wanted to participate more. However, his knee would not allow him to. His knee was just absolutely wretched and in pain. It was because his higher self, his divine intelligence, was telling him, this is not for you. You're wanted elsewhere. Your warrior spirit is needed at home and not on the battlefield. The minute he accepted that message, his knee healed. Now you may say, Tom, it just sounds crazy and I'm not sure I can completely understand this. Well, I ask you, has anything else you've been doing working for you? Do you have a chronic illness, or do you have a pain or an injury that's not going away? If I'm crazy, then I invite you to go back to your doctors and all their antibiotics and all their surgeries and all their experimental medications. Has that actually helped you? Have you improved? Have you healed? Or do you still have this problem? Do you still have this situation? Then I invite you to look at it in a different way. Then perhaps it's not a curse. Perhaps it's not a defect. Perhaps it's just a message that you need to integrate, telling you that on the course that you're currently on, based upon a belief you have, you're in for a lot of suffering, spiritually and physically, unless you change courses. So think about it to yourself. I want you to ask yourself a question. If you knew a friend of yours was going to sprint head on into a room, but that room was a furnace, right? A blazing furnace. The minute he crossed that threshold, he was going to burn alive. And your friend was not listening to you, no matter how much you told him not not to go in the room. You knew that once he entered that door, he was gonna burn alive. If you had a baseball bat, and the only thing you could do was hit him in the leg hard enough to stop him from going in that room, would you do that? At the time, in that without context, your friend would believe that you were cruel. He would believe that you were heartless. He would believe that you were punishing him. He may even say, what kind of friend would injure me so badly for no reason at all? Because he doesn't know the further context down the line that if you had let him move on, he would have burned alive. So I see this happens a lot with the higher self. When people are, when I explain to them that this is a message from their higher self, that they're on the wrong course, they immediately go into this self-destructive pattern. And they ask themselves, well, if the higher self loved me, or if my divine intelligence loved me, why would it punish me like this? Why would it hurt me like this? Why would it do something so horrific to me if it really loved me? It's because they're not seeing the context. They're not seeing the context that this little bit of discomfort, this little bit of pain, they're trying to keep them from heading in a direction where the pain and the discomfort to the soul and to the body and to your life is going to be far, 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 1,000 times worse than more anything you can possibly imagine. They're trying to save you from a life of being soulless, from not living your dreams, for perhaps suppressing yourself, not speaking up for yourself, not embracing your unique attitude. They're trying to save you from the pain of taking on the burdens of others that are not yours to take. All of this, a broad spectrum. So I invite you to take a step back. Take a step back and listen to what I'm saying and consider what I'm saying here. I invite you to stop looking at whatever injury you have, whatever illness you have, whether it be your neck, your stomach, your eyes, your ears. What is it that you are not, what is the message that you're not listening to? What are they trying to tell you? Usually the biggest guess is using the area of your body where the illness is or the injury is. That's the biggest clue as to what the message is that they're trying to tell you. What aspect of yourself are you ignoring, which is going to lead you into a really bad problem. Now, for those of you who don't understand, many people, and I myself have been guilty of this, many people have this problem where they don't want to follow the message. They don't want to follow the guidance until they fully understand on a conscious level what the problem is, or how it makes sense to them, or how this should make sense to them. Many, many times, if you just begin listening to the message, even if it doesn't make sense to you, even if the message sounds totally crazy to you and you don't understand, if you just do it anyways, the more you do it, then the more the message will be made clear to you. And in addition, you'll find that the element will start to heal itself just because you're finally starting to listen. Does that make any sense what I'm saying here? Let me give you an example here, okay? I use the ankle analogy because this is something I've personally experienced. There was a while back ago, I had a really bad ankle injury. And I was just walking one day and my ankle gave out. It literally felt like someone stuck an ice pick in my ankle. And it hurt. It hurt, literally got to the point where I had so much pain and suffering that I couldn't walk. I was basically limping around. And this is very humbling for me because I'm the quantum healer, the teacher. I'm teaching everyone how to do this. Every day people come see me for ailments where doctors say they can't be healed, and I'm helping them tap in their power. Yet here I am being a stubborn bastard. I'm not listening to my own divine intuition. So finally, after like a week or two of this excruciating pain, and I just can't walk it off, I start using the methods I teach my clients, going to my divine intelligence. What is the message? What is trying to be communicated to me? And the message I was being communicated to me was that I'm being too reactive. I'm moving too quickly in the wrong direction based upon reacting to the external. I'm reacting too much, and I need to withdraw from that. I need to be more detached. And then from that area of detachment, I can choose my response. Now, me at the time being very, very stubborn, I know you're like, Tom and Dwight, you're stubborn. Yeah, I can be very stubborn. I'm only human. I was very, very stubborn, and I was like, well, no, I have to react. In my mind, I felt that life was always a life or death thing. I felt that I must always react to what was in front of me emotionally. And that was the only way that I could survive. And for me to have to integrate a decision where I was not able to react felt like it was going against everything that I believed in. It went against everything of my upbringing told me, that the world is dangerous and I have to react, right? So finally, I decided just to be a stubborn person, and I was like, I'm not going to listen to the higher self. I'm not going to listen to this divine intelligence because it doesn't make sense internally to me. And this is what I find a lot of clients run into. If you give them a message from their divine intelligence, they won't listen because it doesn't make sense. But you have to understand, the only reason it doesn't make sense to you is because your perspective is flawed. You don't have the complete picture. You don't know that that room next door is a furnace and it's not a lounge full of attractive women or attractive men. It's not a lounge at all. It's a furnace. You don't know that, right? You don't know that a mile down the road there's a bunch of guys who are gonna rob you and kill you. You don't know that. You don't know that this bag you're gonna pick up of burdens of your friend is actually full of scorpions and black widows. And if you put that bag on, you're gonna get hurt. You don't know that. Sorry for my voice cracking there. I thought I heard a dog barking. So, anyways, so many times, all you really need to do is move. I mean, I apologize for the noise outside. That's my neighbor's dogs. I live in a very nice neighborhood, but they usually walk their dogs, and you're like, non sequitur. Yes, I know. Okay, so where was I? Oh yeah. Okay, so you don't actually understand. You don't actually see the whole picture. Do you know what I mean? So this is why people think they're being punished. And this is why they can't incorporate the wisdom, because in their minds, when you tell them to stop reacting, they'll be like, well, I don't react. I only react because I have to, right? But you don't. So eventually, even though I did not understand the message, I started implementing the message. And this is something a lot of people don't understand. And as I used my conscious will to implement the message, then the ankle started getting better and better and better. And then I started to realize that by reacting to situations, I was actually placing myself in greater harm because I was creating realities that would actually hurt me. So in the end, what seemed to be a punishment actually saved me from an existence where I constantly created my own suffering without my awareness. Does that make sense to you? So the point of this video, as I'm trying to tell you, is that I invite you to look at whatever is ailing you and see of it more as a message. What is your divine intelligence trying to tell you? Do you have arthritis? Are your hands crunched up? Then most likely your divine intelligence is telling you you're holding on to something that's not yours to hold on to and you need to let go. Do you have a mouth problem? Do your teeth hurt? Are you not expressing yourself? Are you not speaking your truth? What is the message? Do you have a problem with your ears? Usually with the ears blocked up, it means that you're not listening to your intuition. You're not trusting your intuition. Do you have a problem with your skin? Are you self-conscious with how you appear to people? Do you feel you're ugly? Do you feel that you can only be beautiful if you look a certain way? Do you have problems with your elbows and your joints? Are you not being flexible when it comes to holding on to things? Or are you holding on to things too much? Are you not letting go? Your back. What kind of burdens are you taking on that are not yours to take on? And listen, believing it or not, knowing the message is not enough. You have to actually incorporate the message in your daily life. I had one client who was a tractor truck driver, and she had the most horrific chronic back pains ever. Just awesome, like awesomely bad. So I spoke with her, we did a session, and it turned out these back pains were coming from the fact that she, as the youngest in her family, felt it was her obligation to take care of everyone else in her family financially because she was making over 6 figures as a trucker. But everyone else in her family was basically not standing on their own 2 feet as adults. And I'm not saying you have to make $1 million to be an adult. I'm just saying at least make an effort. They were not owning their power. They were not owning their power in trying to help themselves. They were just basically living as toddlers in their mind. It's not their fault they were doing this because society wants us to be like children, but that's another story. So her higher self was trying to tell her that she's taking on the burdens of others that are not hers to take. In her mind, though, because she believed that love can only come from taking on burdens of others, she did not understand. She did not want to understand. It didn't make sense to her mind. It doesn't have to make sense to you. You just have to move in the direction. So after being tired of the suffering and the pain, she decided to make a conscious attempt to stop taking on the burdens of her family financially. And guess what? Within a few days, her back pains were completely gone. After about a week or two, no back pain at all. Just completely healed miraculously. However, she chose to go back because she still felt bad about it. And she chose to go back to being taking on her family's burdens. And guess what? A month later, her back pains returned. And I asked her, well, did you go back taking the burdens of your client, of your siblings? And she said, yes, I did, but I have no choice. I don't see a way around it. But see, that's the point. The point is, the more you stay the course, the more the way will be shown to you if you can't see it. You just have to have faith. You have to ask yourself, is the pain and suffering you're experiencing now, is that worth holding on to a dogmatic, stubborn way of looking at the world? Is it worth it? Is it worth it to you? You also have to understand and look at a different way that your divine intelligence is not a punishment. It's trying to communicate something to you. So once you understand this message, then that's all it takes. And in most cases, the injury and the illness will go away. As long as you either integrate, understand the message, and then integrate the message and act upon it. Understanding the message is not enough. You have to act upon it. Anyways, I hope this makes sense to you. I want to give you some more in-depth topics, in-depth information on why this stuff works and why is it so powerful. If you have an illness or an injury that doctors aren't able to help you with and you want to work with me one-on-one, I invite you to click on the link below. There is an interview process. The reason I have over a 90% success rate is because I speak to you and I make sure I can help you. If I can't help you, I'll direct you to someone who can. But I believe in good karma. I believe in what you put out, you get back. So I only want to work with you if I know beyond a 90% chance we can help you. And you're ready to listen. You're ready to integrate the message from your higher self. And you're open to changing. You're open to doing what you need to do, even if it's uncomfortable, so you can heal. If you can do all those, then we can work with you. In addition, if you want to just dip your toes in with the MP3s and explore your own power, I encourage you to check out the Limitless Healing MP3 and the Quantum Healing MP3 below. Anyways, as always, leave your comments below. Let me know if you like these longer videos. Let me know if what I'm saying is making sense to you. I really appreciate it. Your feedback means a lot to me. It helps me know where to go with the videos, and I hope you guys have a great week. Stay strong, stay empowered, and remember you're all powerful creator beings.